Kentucky Republican Congressman and House Oversight Committee ranking member James Comer for reaction to all of this. Congressman, it's good to see you. You know, your thoughts on passing this bill. You could argue that the $1 trillion makes sense. There's enough hard infrastructure in there that it will help stimulate the economy. But that $3.5 trillion, which Wall Street Journal today is actually calling an anti-poverty and climate plan, and we've been calling it human infrastructure, is completely unnecessary in a recovering economy that's doing pretty well right now.
You're exactly right. You mentioned stimulus. I don't think we need stimulus right now. I think the best role the government can play in the economy is to get out of the way and let the private sector do what it does best. With respect to infrastructure bill, if we're just talking about the infrastructure bill, it's still not a good infrastructure bill. It's not good for rural America. It has too many regulations in there pertaining to backdoor Green New Deal legislation. And then if you factor in the $3.5 trillion spending bill that's going to definitely follow this, this is unnecessary spending, unnecessary regulations. There's no pay for in there. The Democrats are going to have to probably significantly increase taxes, which will do more harm for the economy than the actual infrastructure stimulus part would do to the economy. So this is a bad bill. I'm disappointed so many Republicans in the Senate have voted for it.
Nancy Pelosi is giving the indication that, you know, she's confident that they have the votes to be able to pass that budget reconciliation to get the $3.5 trillion. But there are others that say, nope, there might be some Dems that will hold out on this. They don't even believe in it.
Yeah, I don't think that Nancy Pelosi has the votes in the House right now. I think every Republican member of the House of Representatives is sticking in our opposition to this bill. So she has to make sure that she can only lose no less than 4 members in the House right now. And there are about 6 really moderate members, and there are 6 progressive members. And both sides are sticking to their guns. The moderates want less spending, less taxes. The progressives want more spending and more taxes. So this is going to be a test of Pelosi's leadership to see which side loses, because either the moderates are going to lose or the progressives are going to lose. And, you know, Pelosi, she's been able to pull it off before, but today, as we speak, she does not have the votes to pass that massive spending bill.
And I think that, you know, the issue right now, of course, is heading into the midterms. This would be the time for the Democrats to try to pass whatever they can with respect to the spending that they want, because they know that the tide could be turning, sir.
The tide is definitely turning. I've been out all across Kentucky this week, and I can tell you a lot of the demographics that we didn't do as well with last election, particularly female voters, they're upset with virtual learning, they're upset with inflation, they're upset with the increase in crime. All 3 of those issues they blame squarely on the Biden administration and Democrat policies coming from Schumer and Pelosi. So I think that history's on our side in the midterm elections, and with the bad policies coming out of the Biden administration, I feel like the Republicans are going to do very well next year in the midterms.
Yeah, just to go back to that $1 trillion that we're talking about, the $1 trillion infrastructure bipartisan bill, you're right. There is a certain amount of hard infrastructure there. But even in that bill, there was some environmental provisions, and they sort of, you know, they branched out a little bit. Why isn't that enough?
You know, that's a bad part of the bill, because if you talk about our ports, we need to invest in our ports. I've met with several people who are importers and exporters in Kentucky this week, and the ports are backed up 5 or 6 weeks now. But what the Democrats are wanting to do, they're not wanting to expand the ports to where they can have more capacity. They're wanting to build the ports to where they comply with their Green New Deal legislation, and that's a waste of money, and it's not going to help the economy.
Yeah, and that's at a time that we're dealing with supply chain shortages and everything that is coming into the ports, to your point, that is already taking prices up and essentially taxing the consumer again.
That's right. We talked to an importer this week in Murray, Kentucky, that said the logistical cost of shipping things into America now has gone up 800%. That's the container cost, the shipping fees, and that's all a result of not having enough capacity at our ports. But the Democrats don't want to expand capacity. They want to cater to their environmental wing of the party. Right.
Congressman, great to see you this afternoon. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All right.